Hi, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm looking forward to guiding you through today's Yin Yoga practice, which is all going to be about improving your mood. So, there's a lot of hip openers coming your way because hips are where we tend to store a lot of emotions. We've done this class before. In fact, I tend to bring this class back right around this time every year as we're starting to move away from the winter hibernation to actually be outside, maybe be a little bit more social, whether it be with friends or family, which is great. But if you've been spending a lot more time hibernating by yourself, you also might feel a little stressed by those things. That's just me. Anyway, we're going to get started in the kneeling position in just a couple of minutes. So do whatever feels good for you for these next 3 minutes before class begins. And I'm just going to make sure everything is streaming properly. As always, I encourage you to have some water nearby. While we won't have any specific water breaks, if you need to grab a sip of water, you should. But try to do so between postures. Yin is all about creating as much stillness as possible. And frequently during a yoga class, when something starts to feel challenging, I mean, especially during yoga, but maybe other times in your life also. But when things start to feel challenging, you reach for external sources of relaxation. And when you're taking an exercise class, telling yourself, oh, I need a sip of water can be a really great, personally justifiable excuse for taking a break. So, like I said, it's totally okay to grab some water, but ask yourself, can I wait and grab that water between postures instead of coming out of something early? And that's also, honestly, a great practice to bring to play for any other class that you're taking. Fred, I will give you some peanuts. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's not nice. You're a nasty bird. I'm still going to give you some peanuts, though. But you'll be a quiet, nasty bird. You smell bad right now, Fred. Okay, let's check in on the time. 1 more minute. So just do whatever feels good for you. If you want to already get into kneeling, if you want to take a relaxed, quiet seat, now's a good time to grab a sip of water. And then join me in a comfortable kneeling position. I'm going to go ahead and sit up on this block. You can open your knees a little bit wider. I think that feels really relaxing. What about you, Uncle Buck? And let's take our first 3 minutes here, just coming into our breath. So make any adjustments right now that you need to with your clothing or with your hair so that you can just let everything be as it is. And then start to really find your way into your stillness. So shoulders relax down away from ears, a little bit of length through the crown of your head. Remember, throughout today's class, with stillness, we want to include the eyes. So if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. Either find that one spot ahead of you to relax your eyes or feel free to close them. And yin really is all about finding comfort within some of the stretches. So whereas normally in class you might be lifting all the way up, I'll help to guide you as to what part of the body you should be feeling the stretch. And then everywhere else you can just really relax, which is the whole point of bringing as many props as you possibly can. So having maybe pulling the cushions off of your couch or really big structured pillows. So as you take any sort of like rounding, you could be supported by those delightful elements. All right. We're halfway through this kneeling opening. Start to really scan your body from head to toe and notice how your body is feeling today. Where are you holding any stress or tension? Is there any noticeable discomfort anywhere? And if you are feeling stressed, tense, or uncomfortable, it's okay. Tell yourself that's okay too. We can't feel perfectly perfect and amazing every day. But let's just do the best with the body that we have, create as much relaxation and release as possible. And please, especially while you're at home, possibly even by yourself, allow yourself to feel whatever feelings bubble up during today's class, because we are going to work to find some uh, big openings of places where those emotions are stored. And the longer that you really suppress your true feelings and self, the more tense that your body is going to actually be and feel. All right, we're giving ourselves 30 extra seconds right here. Mostly, I feel bad making Uncle Buck move. You're welcome to stay here, Uncle Buck, but I'm going to change my position. All right, so if you're sitting all the way down on your block for kneeling, we're going to gently lift ourselves up a little bit. Sorry, buddy, I love you. And next up is a toe stretch. So tucking those toes under the balls of the feet gently, and then working to bring your glutes back towards your heels. And you can keep your hands down on the floor, just depending on how you're feeling today. This might be all the stretch that those toes and feet can get, or the more that you lift yourself up and really sit your glutes down towards those heels, the more intense the stretch will be. Find something that you can stay in. So make sure you're not going out and coming in. It's okay to have your hands on the floor. It's okay to use a prop. We got a little bit over 1 minute to go here. So use your inhale, tune into how those feet are feeling, and use your exhale to just let go of any mental stress or tension associated with the openings that you're creating with your feet. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So close your eyes or find one spot to focus. I'm sure you're doing an amazing job creating the stillness. Take one more big breath. And then if you lifted yourself up, bring your hands back down towards the floor. Untuck your toes. Ooh, take a moment to tap the tops of the feet down onto the mat. And then we're going to sit glutes back towards the heels, taking some nice big ankle stretches. So pressing the tops of the feet into the floor, lift one knee up. Lift the other knee up, and you can continue if it feels best. If you're feeling really tight, if it's hard for you to get these legs lifted, to just lift both knees up, or you can bring your hands behind you and get both at the same time. Try not to roll too much towards the outside of the feet. So still really pressing the tops of the feet down to the floor. One more big breath through this ankle stretch. And then return to tabletop. Uncle Buck, you are very weedy today. Okay, so here in tabletop, give yourself some cat cow. You get 2 minutes of cat cow. So find whatever works for you. Make sure you're just moving slowly in control with your breath. Maybe you want to shake your cat or your cow's tail a little bit. Ooh. While you're getting this movement, just think about shaking out all your tension, your spookies, and just keeping your mind right here on your mat, on your breath and your movement. If you do find that your mind is starting to drift elsewhere during class, tune back into the breath, the quality and the length of the breath, and really using your breath to explore how your body feels and enhancing and embracing your exhale to feel as good as you can. To just ease yourself through the stretches. I know they're not all easy. I know. Ooh, last couple of moments here in whatever version of cat cow is best for you. You okay, Uncle Buck? I liked it when you were sitting down. So you took us back down. Show the people you're pretty dumb. You're such a good buddy. All right, all right. Next up are my two favorite stretches for desk people. Really going to get into the hips and hamstrings with the dangle and a squat. Bring those blocks nearby. Why not? If you don't need them, you don't need them. But make your way to a dangle. So tuck your toes under, send your glutes up towards the ceiling, and then either walk your hands to your feet or your feet to the hands. Equally press through all four corners of the feet. So you don't have too much weight in your heels with your glutes sending towards the back of the room. You don't have too much weight in your toes so that you're shifting forward. You're just delightfully stacked. And feel free to use this block to help. Make sure you're hinging from the hips, not just the waist. So hinging from the waist, a little higher, creates that rounding in that low back, and hinging from the hips, almost like a half lift. And feel free to use any prop. So if the floor still feels really far away and it's easier for you to bring your hands onto a couch or onto the chair, or maybe with even, up on that chair, you have your arms folded. And if you need to take a bend of your knees, take a generous bend of your knees. We're going to spend 2 more minutes here in this dangle. So really focus on the stretch on the back of the legs and try not to worry too much about what's happening with your upper back. You are creating a little bit of length. So remember, we're not just rounding from the mid back, which might feel uncomfortable. I'm using a slight bend in my legs to think about my thighs like a generous table. And the more that your arms are down towards the floor, the more you're going to feel this big stretch on the back of your legs. So if you're really tight, if you're feeling a lot of tension in the back of your hamstrings, it's normal that you might not be able to hinge all the way forward. So just do what feels good for your body today. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. We got 1 minute left here. So you don't need to go any deeper, but I do want you to explore how you can relax a little bit more. If your shoulders are drawing all the way up towards your ears, take a moment and just seat your shoulder blades a little further down your back. And maybe that helps to release your head a little closer towards the floor, but hopefully that mostly just helped to relax your back. Hi, Uncle Bug. How you doing? How you doing, little guy? All right, and next we're going to come into a squat. So heel toe your feet out about mat width distance apart, or as much as your adorable dog will let you. And then turn your toes out and your heels in and drop those glutes down. You can transfer your hands towards your thighs to stay a little bit more active in the squat, or you can transfer your block towards the back side of the mat and sit down. I have my block lifted all the way up, but if you're feeling a little more open than I choose to be right now. You can always turn your block to be a little bit flatter towards the floor. Find the amount of lift that works for you. Even if you do sit down on the couch and then just open those legs out nice and wide. We got 2 minutes in this squat, and then we're going to return to the dangle again. We're going to do each of these 2 times. So find that spot, focus your eyes. You can still use your arms, even if you're supported uh, on the block, to help open those knees a little bit wider to get more of a stretch on the inner thighs while you're stretching the hips. Okay, it's time to press back up into that dangle so you can release your hands down towards the floor. And then lift those hips up again. You can keep your feet a little wider if you choose to. That's okay. You can do a nice wide leg dangle. Still making sure that you're equally pressing through all 4 corners of the feet. And I want you to honestly reflect to yourself, how was your stillness during the last 2 postures? Personally, I fidgeted quite a bit. Let's think of this as a redo. Check back in with your shoulders. Are they creeping up towards your ears and creating a little extra rounding through that upper back? If so, seat your shoulder blades down your spine. A little extra space for the neck to stretch down as well. This is a great time to remind you that it is normal if you feel any shaking, trembling, quivering throughout the parts of the body that we're stretching out. Maybe there's some shaking in your hands even from providing a little bit of support for that upper body towards the floor. That just means that you're doing an amazing job of really getting deep into the ligaments, the tissue, the skin, of helping your fascia to stretch and create these deeper openings, a little bit more stimulation and connection. And hopefully, all of these good stretches and movements are helping to relax and release any tension that you might feel. Because when our bodies feel good, mentally, we tend to feel a little bit better. Right, Uncle Buck? Just about 1 minute left. Scan your body from head to toe. How can you relax into the stretch a little bit more? Are your eyes open? Can you challenge yourself to close them for this last minute and just tune into your breath? Really use your exhale to let go of expectations. Try and make your inhales and exhales sound as much like the rolling of the ocean as possible. And then we can think about Uncle Buck as being seagulls at the ocean, right? Right, Uncle Buck? I love you, dude. Uncle Buck is like the seagull hovering around while you're eating French fries. All right, we're going to carefully make our way down to the floor. Keep those blocks nearby. We're going for a wide kneed tadpole. So your toes touch and you open your knees really wide. If that doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can go for a regular child's pose. I'm going to bring one block underneath of my belly and have one block that I can place my forehead on. So we're focusing a little bit more on the stretching of the glutes. And we're here for 2 minutes. If you don't have blocks at home, using a rolled up towel or blanket to place under your belly or making use of those cushions from the couch. You might think it sounds silly, but finding a little extra lift and support as you come into these stretches, especially if you're not feeling really open, if you're feeling really tight, it's going to make such a big difference. So treat yourself to using whatever you've got around you. And just do what feels good with that upper body. Technically, for tadpole, we'd want to bring our hands towards the ground behind us. But personally, that feels like a little bit much today. So I'm just going to keep my hands forward. Oh my gosh, we forgot to do the other squat, didn't we? That's okay. Because this wide-kneed tadpole is basically like us being in a squat position, a little bit less tension in the ankles though. But we're going to work into those ankles in our next posture. Because next up, we're going to do frog. We're evolving from our tadpole. All right, so if you know that your hips are tight and you don't already have your belly on a block, I highly encourage you to give it a try. We're going to take our toes from pointing in towards each other and turn those feet out. Ooh, I'm even going to shift my body a little further forward. And if it's really uncomfortable for you to have both of these legs in frog at one time, you can go ahead and lay down on your belly, remove the left, and just do one leg in frog. So the best you can to get your hips in line with your knees, just the best that you can. It doesn't matter if they're not exactly in line. Right, Uncle Buck? Right. And then relax as much as you can. The more that you relax your upper body, the slightly deeper you might feel the stretch, opening up those hips. We're going to spend 2 more minutes right here. Feel free to relax that head down towards the floor. Okay, we're going to carefully make our way out of frog. I'm going to extend my froggy legs behind me and press up for a moment. Back up into tabletop. Oh, give yourself another cat-cow. Move these props to the side. We're going to need this space. Tuck your toes under. Send your glutes up towards the ceiling. Take a moment, pedal through your heels. Really push through your hands. Think about stretching your glutes towards the back of the room as much as you can. By that, press through your hands. While you're doing that, biceps will come a little bit more in line with your ears. Keep your left foot where it is. Sorry, stuff. Lift that right leg up. We're going to bring right knee forward. Right knee comes forward and then toes touch down towards the floor. Relax yourself down. Just going to shift a little further up my mat and send that left leg back behind you for a little bit of uh, sleeping swan, which is coming up. So we're going to relax ourselves down towards the mat, and you're going to think about bringing the hip of your extended leg towards the mat more than you're thinking about bringing your forward leg glute down towards the floor. But if it's uncomfortable to have that glute not supported at all, go ahead, place a block underneath of your glute. And maybe even place a little something something at the top of the mat if you don't want to make it all the way down towards the floor. I feel like I'm in a version of like Sphinxy Swan. Sphinx Swan. Who would eat who? What about Cobra Swan? Who would eat who? All right, back to our breath and just being here and relaxing that upper body as much as you can. We got 2 more minutes in this sleeping swan. Come back to the idea of creating as much stillness as you can. So using those props that you have around you to support you so you can relax, reduce the fidget, just tune into the quality, the depth, the length, and the release provided by your breath. And remember, if you're feeling any shaking or trembling, it is normal to feel that while you are shifting and releasing your stored energy and emotions. All right, you beautiful sleeping swans. Let's press ourselves up, tuck that back toe under, lift those hips up. Woo! Coming back through downward dog. Take a moment in this down dog to just stretch it out. Find any extra stretches or twists that feel good for you. Maybe you just pedal your heels. If down dog really doesn't feel great, you can always just press back into child's pose, but we're going to use this down dog to help us get into our sleeping swan on the opposite side. Take about 2 more breaths here, just stretching it out, feeling good. And then keeping your right foot planted. Send your left leg up, shift weight forward, bring that left knee forward. Bring that left toe down towards the floor. Doesn't matter how deeply you came into this posture. On the other side, we're on a whole new side of the body. So find what feels good for you. And remember, you're thinking about bringing the extended legs hip closer towards the mat. And if that opposite glute feels really lifted, just bring a block under the glutes. Might sound silly, but it really helps. It's, oh my gosh, I'm kind of thinking about that block as like when you've got a truck on a hill and you're like, yeah, you got the brakes on, it's parked. You just want to like feel a little more secure. So you put that brick or block behind the back wheel. And that's basically what I just did with the block under my bum. I just put it down so it can feel a little bit more relaxed. And then you can relax your upper body as much as possible. We got 2 more minutes right here. Check in with that upper back. I know I just checked in with mine, and I found that I was really rounding through the shoulders and pressing into my elbows and finding a lift of that upper back. Oh my gosh, intense itch. Um, and then I was like, what are you doing? And I used my exhale to relax my chest a little closer to the floor. And I didn't change the lower half of my body at all, but it intensified the stretch in a good way without going any deeper. So I encourage you to take that body scan. I discourage you from being like I did and immediately leaning into scratching my itch. Normally during this class, I would use my breath and try and exhale it away, or at least wait until the end of this posture. All right, let's wake up, you beautiful swans. So lifting yourself up. Let's remove this block from behind us from safety. Tuck your back toe under. Press yourself into down dog. One more time. One more minute to just pedal through those heels. We've got another hip opener coming up. So if you'd like to make your way into three-legged dog, one more time, right leg lifts, left leg stays planted, and then draw that right knee forward, shift your shoulders forward, and right foot comes down onto the floor. Let's release that left knee down towards the mat. And just come into whatever version of hip opener works for you. You can stay down on the floor, or you can lift yourself up. I'm going to choose to be nice and lifted today, still pushing those hips forward. I've got my opposite hand relaxed on my thighs for a little bit of support. 2 minutes on this side in whatever sort of dragon posture feels good for you. Pressing that back knee down into the floor, finding a little squeeze of that glute, and that's what's really opening up this hip, creating a little bit of a stretch in the quad as well. A little bit more balance required for this one too, so keep that in mind as you're relaxing here. With eyes closed, balance can be very challenging. So perhaps this is a posture where you keep your eyes open and just focus gently on one spot ahead of you. We're going to carefully make our way out on our next exhale. So if you lifted yourself up, hands come down towards the floor. Tuck your back toe under. Lift that back knee up off of the mat. Send your right leg back to meet with the left. Passing through down dog. Lifting our left leg up, shifting the weight forward. Shoulders come on top of hands, palms. Left foot comes forward, even if you have to shimmy, 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 shimmy it forward. Bring that right knee down and explore what feels good on this side, because you don't have to do the exact same thing on this side. So maybe it feels good to be a little closer towards the floor, or you want to have your hands down on the floor, or you'd like to lift yourself back up. And get a little bit of both on this side. Whatever you do, just find something where you can be a little still. And if you find that you're continuously shifting around or moving, then maybe you came a little bit too far into the posture. Ease back, come back to that spot where you can enjoy your stillness, where the focus is on the stretch in your hips, not in any particular stress on the wrists or upper body from helping you to muscle through this posture and stretch. Big focus is just on that lower body. This is our last upright posture of the day, y'all. 1 minute left here. You are so worth this stillness. Scan your body from head to toe. Take these last couple of breaths. See how you can relax, 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 relax. Use your next breath. Bring those hands back down to the floor if you lifted them. Keep that back knee on the mat. Bring your left leg to meet with your right. Take a moment. Press your glutes back towards your heels for a nice little spine. I'm sorry, not spine twist, child's pose. I'm thinking ahead of myself. Last big stretch opportunity together today for the upper back, shoulders, depending on how far forward your hands are. But if anything feels particularly good, you can come back to it later, maybe before you even get off of your mat today. All right, take your time, lift yourself up. We're going to turn over onto our backs. We'll take a delightful reclined twist and then find our way to final Savasana. Opportunity to challenge your abs if you want, planting your feet firmly on the floor, rolling down slowly, one vertebrae at a time with control. Now on the back of the head, shoulders touch the mat. Extend the arms out towards the side. Firmly plant the soles of the feet down on the floor. Press into them to lift yourself up. Drop knees over to one side. Stack your hips as much as possible. And while doing so, how much can you keep your opposite side shoulder on the mat? You can keep looking in the direction of your knees to keep things a little bit easier or more relaxed in the upper body. You can stretch into your neck by turning and looking in the opposite direction of the knees. Think once more about doing your best to stack that top hip over the lower hip. So you're really getting a nice ringing sensation through the middle of the body. And on your next exhale, carefully rolling onto your back again, grounding your feet, pressing into them, lift your hips up, roll to the opposite side. Do your best to stack your hips, stack your knees. And if you're having any trouble stacking hips or knees, use a block. You can always place a block under your legs, between your legs, whatever feels right. Work to bring that opposite shoulder towards the mat, and you can keep looking in the same direction of your legs, be a little bit more passive, or turn and twist, get that extra stretch for your neck. It does not matter what you did on the opposite side. Just find what feels good right now. And on your next exhale, roll onto your back once more. Press into the soles of the feet. Ooh. Ground your lower back towards the mat. You can bring your arms wherever you want. I like to bring my arms closer by the sides of the body. Maybe even one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Extend those legs out or keep a bend in them if that's what feels best for your lower back today. We've got 3 more minutes together, and we're going to spend all of them in Savasana. So relax on the mat. Check in with yourself on your next exhale. And notice if you have any tension in your chest, if your back of your arms are relaxed onto the mat as much as possible. What about your shoulders? What about the back of your head? Are you stretching your chin or nose up towards the ceiling at all? Maybe even giving yourself a little double, triple chin to get more of the back of your head flat on the mat. Just like you did for every other posture today, use that breath to scan yourself in Savasana for one more and almost the most important time to truly relax, come into your breath, and allow your practice to just soak in. I don't care, and it does not matter, and you should not be concerned about how deeply you came into any of these postures, about how many props you used. If you found that you fidgeted, it's okay. Did you come back to your stillness when you noticed you were fidgeting? As your thoughts might have strayed elsewhere, did you do your best to come back to your breath? Because as long as you did your best today, that's enough. You're amazing. What if every day we really put forth the best version of ourselves and let go of the judgment? So I hope that as you move forward with your day, with your weekend, that if you do start to find that you're not feeling as open and relaxed as right now, check back in with your breath, check back in with yourself, and just do your best. And it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks if at the end of the day, you can be proud of yourself. And maybe others don't see it right away. And maybe you don't even see it right away. But I promise if you just keep on keeping on, if you're doing your best, and that doesn't mean that you're always winning, it just means you're trying, that it's going to make a difference. You're welcome to stay here in this final Savasana for longer, but that's all the time that we have together today. Let's stay on the floor as we just close things out, though. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did, reach out till we are together again. Keep thinking those good thoughts and speak good words, not just to others, but to yourself. Nourish yourself from the inside. Eat good foods. Do good deeds. Take the time not just for others, but for yourself. If it feels right for you, you can bring your hands palms together and still bring your thumb to your third eye, your drishti. Just a little tapping of that forehead can make a difference too. A little stimulation. And as always, I hope you know that the light within me honors, sees, and is really, honestly, very thankful for the light within you. I hope you feel lighter and lifted and have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.